Hello, Namaskar, Adab, Sat Sri Akal. I am Shruti Nair, representing Shri Guru Krupa Vidya Sankul CBSE. I am here today with a very emotional, at the same time, a beautiful poem from Standard 11th. So, excited everyone? I am very excited. Let's start the poem. So, the poetess of this poem is Shirley Tolson. Let's begin the poem. So, you can see in this picture, this poem is actually about the poet's mother's childhood. She describes her mother. She obviously loves her mother so much. And you know, in those days, there were no mobile phones. So people used to get clicked through camera. And I am sure many of you can relate to what I am telling. We all love posing, right? So here, her mother, when she was a child, she is posing with her two cousins. So these two cousins are on both the sides of her mother. So as you can see in the picture, these are her two cousins and this is her mother. Everyone clear? Okay, let's go ahead. The cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins went paddling, each one holding one of my mother's hands, and she, the big girl, some 12 years or so. So she is actually describing a photograph. In front of the poetess, there is a photograph, there is a picture. And in those days, as you know, there were no good frames for photo. It was kept inside the cardboard. So what she is telling when she is looking at the picture, the cardboard, so she sees that her mother is paddling with her two cousins. Now what does paddling mean? Paddling actually means walking. Here in this poem, paddling means walking through waters. So we will understand which kind of water it is, we will see. But let me tell you what it is. So she is describing the picture. The picture shows that there are two girl cousins. Now these two girl cousins went for a walk in the water with poetess mother. Clear everyone? Each one holding one of my mother's hands. As I told you, both the girls are holding her mother's hands. And she, the big girl, some 12 years or so. Her mother is the big one. She is in between. She is like 12 or approximately 12. So this picture is of Shirley Tolson's mother when she was 12. Her mother was 12. Clear? Shall I move to the next stanza? Okay. All three stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera. A sweet face, my mother's, that was before I was born. And the sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet. What is she describing now? Now she is telling us what the girls are doing in that place. All three stood to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera. So there is some uncle, maybe her mother's uncle. So he is standing there with the camera. So these three girls are posing. So all are, you know, whenever we are also posing, we will be like, you know, that pose is there. We always love to be in front of the camera and pose. There is a different type of smile when we come in front of the camera. So these three girls are in front of the camera and their uncle is taking their picture. A sweet face, my mother's, that was before I was born. She's describing about her mother's face. What she tells that her mother's face is, you know, very sweet, very cute kind of face. Her mother was 12 years old at that time and she had a very sweet face. My mother's, that was before I was born, obviously when her mother was 12. Now here hair is given. You know, girls can relate to what I am telling. Whenever we go to some beach or some kind of place, you know, there is a wind blowing and the hairs are getting flapped and we love to pose, you know. So similarly, the girls are also standing and their hair is flapping. You get my point. So her mother's and as well as the cousins' hairs are getting flapped and they are very happy to pose. And the sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet. What does these two lines mean? The sea which appeared to have changed less. This means whatever the sea was in those days when her mother was posing, the sea is still the same. Clear everyone? Obviously sea will not change. But what she tells in the last line, she tells that washed their terribly transient feet. So the sea is washing their terribly transient feet. What does this terribly transient feet? Transient, I'll tell you. The meaning of transient is temporary. Temporary. That means, you know, this feet is temporary. What does this mean? This describes the human body. We are not going to remain the same forever, right? But the sea will remain the same. So in these two lines, the poet describes two contrast situations. The first situation is that the sea will not change. And the second situation is that her feet, it has changed. Human bodies will change, right? When we are small, we are very young and small, we have small bodies, then our bodies grow. As we get old, our bodies grow and change. So this is what she is telling, that my mother's feet, it was terribly transient. Even her cousin's feet, it is terribly transient. It has changed, the bodies have changed, but the sea has not changed. The sea is still the same. Let's move to the next stanza. Some 20-30 years later, she would laugh at the snapshot. See, Betty and Dolly, she would say, and look how they dressed us for the beach. The sea holiday was her past, mine is her laughter, both wry with the labored ease of loss. Some 20-30 years later, what does that mean? When this picture was taken, her mother was 12, right? I already told you her mother was 12. 20-30 years later, let's count here 20 or 30. Let's take 30. So what is the answer? 42. So now she is describing the situation when her mother was 42. So when her mother was 42, her mother used to describe this picture to her, to the poetess. What is she telling? What did the mother say? The mother said, see Betty and Dolly, she would say. Who is Betty and Dolly now? Mother is describing the picture happily to the poetess, and she is telling that Betty and Dolly. Betty and Dolly means the two girl cousins on either side of the mother. So mother is telling that you can see Betty and Dolly is in the picture with me. And she would also say, look how they dressed us for the beach. Look how their parents dressed them, the mother and the cousins, how they are dressed for the beach. So how their parents dressed. So she is looking at the picture, becoming very happy. Mother is 42. She is becoming very happy, and she described this picture to her child. Who is her child now? Her child means the poetess, Shirley Tolson. So she had described this. Now this is also past for the poetess. How? First of all, she described about how her mother was when she was 12. Her face, how it was when she was 12. Then she described about the time when she was 42. Mother was 42 and this poetess was a little girl. The sea holiday was her past. For her mother, when she was 42, she described about her past, about the picture. Mine is her laughter. Now, what does this words mean? Mine is her laughter. The poetess describes here that for me, my mother's laughter has become past. What does that mean? It means that her mother is no more. So she is getting emotional that my mother used to describe the picture. That picture was past for her, but right now my mother is past for me. This is what she is telling. Clear everyone? Both wry. Now, how do you pronounce this? It's called wry. Wry means worrying. So both are worrying. Which both? First of all, her mother and then she. Mother was worrying about her past, that, you know, childhood cannot come back. She cannot pose again with the cousins in front of the camera. But she is telling that mother was worrying about the past and I am worrying about my mother because mother is no more. Clear? So she and her mother both are worrying with the labored ease of loss. What does labored ease of loss mean? Labored ease of loss means, you know, the love she that got from her mother. Love that she has got from her mother, she cannot get it back because mother is no more. And her mother also cannot go to the past. Clear everyone? So in this stanza, she describes about how her mother described the past and how she was very happy describing the picture to her child. And then she tells that for the mother, the holiday was the past, and for her, her mother has become past. Now she is getting emotional. Let's go to the next slide. Now she's been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived. And of this circumstance, there is nothing to say at all. It's silence, silences. What is she telling? In the first line, she is telling that now it's been nearly as many years as the girl lived. The girl in the picture, what was her age? Her age was 12, right? Her age was 12, her mother's age was 12 in the picture. And now it's been 12 years that her mother has died. That means right now her mother is no more and it's been 12 years since she has died. Clear everyone? And of this circumstance, of this situation, in this situation, she has nothing to say. What is she telling? There is nothing to say at all. She has no words. You know, some emotions are like speechless. You don't have any words to describe it. She's so much emotional now. It's silence, silences. Even the silence is getting silenced. She has no words to tell how she feels now. Clear everyone? So towards the ending of the poem, she is telling us how emotional she is. She misses her mother, she loves her mother, but she misses the love of her mother. Clear everyone? I hope this poem is clear to all of you. I'll bring many more poems and chapters. Whatever you want, you can write in the comment section. I'll try to reply to each and every comment. Thank you.